discipline over motivation. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest lessons you'll ever learn. Everyone talks about motivation as if it's the fuel that drives success, but motivation is a spark. It lights fast, burns bright, and dies just as quickly. Discipline, though, that's the slow, steady fire that never goes out. It's not glamorous. It doesn't come with hype or applause. It's built quietly in the hours when nobody's watching, when the world feels heavy and your mind is screaming for you to stop. That's where discipline lives. And that's where greatness begins. When you first start anything, lifting, running, studying, building your dream, it's easy to feel unstoppable. The first few days are exciting because you're fueled by that rush of possibility. You see progress fast, you feel good, and everything clicks. But then, without warning, that spark fades. You wake up one morning and the energy is gone.
You're tired.
Your body aches. You start questioning why you're even doing this. That's the crossroads where most people quit. Not because they don't want it badly enough, but because they've been relying on motivation instead of discipline. Motivation asks, do I feel like it today? Discipline says, it doesn't matter. Motivation is emotional. It's built on excitement, fear, hype, or pressure. Discipline is logical. It's built on decisions, structure, and repetition. Motivation wants to make you feel good right now. Discipline wants to make you great later. The truth is, the most successful people you know aren't the most motivated, they're the most disciplined. They've learned to act independent of their feelings. When it's cold, when it's inconvenient, when it hurts, they show up because showing up is non-negotiable. Discipline is like a muscle. It grows through resistance. Every time you do something you don't want to do but need to do, you're building that muscle. And at first, it feels small. Waking up early, hitting the gym, eating right, staying consistent, each act feels insignificant on its own. But discipline compounds. Just like interest in a bank account, every small deposit builds into something massive over time. You don't notice it right away, but one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. You'll realize that the small things, the reps, the choices, the late nights were the foundation of everything you've built. Discipline doesn't shout, it whispers. It's quiet, almost invisible. Nobody celebrates you for doing the right thing when it's boring. Nobody claps when you wake up early or stay late. But that's where the real transformation happens. It's in the unseen hours that winners are made. The difference between average and exceptional isn't talent. It's consistency. It's the ability to keep doing what needs to be done long after the excitement has disappeared. Think about every time you've started something and stopped. What happened? Probably nothing dramatic. You just lost the feeling. The same feeling that got you started wasn't there anymore. And since motivation was your fuel, once it ran out, you stopped moving. That's why you can't depend on motivation, because motivation is seasonal, emotional, unreliable. Some days you'll feel like a machine. Other days, you'll barely have the energy to move. Discipline is what bridges that gap. It's what keeps the engine running when the tank feels empty. You build discipline by making promises to yourself and keeping them. Every time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. And that trust is everything, because when you trust yourself, you don't need hype. You don't need validation. You don't need a perfect environment. You just need a decision. The moment you say, I'll do it no matter what, you've already won half the battle. But let's be honest, discipline hurts. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely. It demands sacrifice. It asks you to walk away from comfort, from instant gratification, from easy paths. You'll have to say no to distractions, no to laziness, no to the voice in your head that keeps saying, just rest today. That voice is seductive. It tells you you're tired, that you deserve a break, that it's okay to skip one day. But the truth is, every time you give in, you're teaching yourself to quit. Discipline teaches the opposite. It teaches you that pain isn't a signal to stop. It's a sign you're growing. The greatest strength discipline gives you is control. Control over your actions, your emotions, your environment. When you master discipline, you no longer depend on the world to align perfectly for you to succeed. You become your own source of power. The alarm clock rings, you get up. The gym feels far, you go anyway. The day feels heavy, you push through. That's real power, because when life throws chaos at you, and it will, discipline is the anchor that keeps you steady. There's something almost spiritual about discipline. It's the art of doing what must be done even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing purpose over pleasure, growth over comfort, long-term fulfillment over short-term happiness. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about respecting your potential enough to demand more from it. Because deep down, you know you're capable of more. You know there's another level inside you that you haven't reached yet. And the only way to reach it is through consistent, disciplined action. Discipline doesn't eliminate fear or doubt. It just teaches you how to move despite them. You'll still have bad days. You'll still feel unmotivated. You'll still face failure. But discipline gives you the strength to keep going. It's what allows you to keep showing up until momentum builds again. It's what keeps your vision alive when your emotions don't cooperate. When you start valuing discipline over motivation, everything changes. You stop waiting for the right time. You stop chasing temporary highs. You stop needing permission. You realize that motivation might get you started, but only discipline will keep you moving forward when no one's clapping. It's not about feeling ready. It's about acting ready. You begin to understand that progress doesn't come from one massive leap, but from 1,000 small, disciplined steps. Each one may look insignificant in the moment, but together they create transformation. That's why discipline is the real superpower. It's quiet, it's consistent, and it's undefeatable. So if you're watching this right now, understand this: motivation is a wave. You ride it and it crashes. Discipline is the ocean. It's endless, powerful, and constant. The sooner you stop chasing waves and start mastering the water, the sooner your life changes. Because the truth is, the most successful version of you already exists. It's just waiting on the other side of your excuses. When you build discipline, you stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start saying, "I will do this." That shift changes everything. Because once you believe that your actions don't depend on emotion, you become unstoppable. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You stop surviving and you start leading your own story. That's the power of discipline over motivation. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's the foundation of greatness. The day you choose discipline is the day you stop waiting for the world to push you and start pushing yourself. That's when everything changes. Because discipline doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you free. Pain is the path to power. Most people spend their entire lives running from pain, trying to avoid it, numb it, or distract themselves from it. They think pain is a sign that something's wrong. But what if it's not? What if pain is actually the doorway to your greatest strength? The truth is, every person you admire, every champion you look up to, every story of transformation you've ever heard, all of it was born from pain. Pain is the purest form of feedback life can give you. It's not there to destroy you. It's there to teach you, to refine you, to expose who you really are when everything else is stripped away. When I first started pushing myself, I thought pain was the enemy. I thought success meant finding a way to make things easier. I thought that if I worked hard enough, one day it would stop hurting. But I was wrong. It never gets easier. You just get stronger. Pain doesn't leave your life when you grow. It evolves with you. It becomes a teacher instead of a punishment. And when you learn to embrace that, when you stop seeing pain as a threat and start seeing it as a guide, everything changes. Pain is the mirror that shows you the truth. It reveals what you're capable of, what you fear, what you avoid, and what you really want. Every time you push your limits, whether it's in the gym, in business, or in life, you meet pain. It's that burning in your muscles, that doubt in your mind, that voice that says, "Stop, this isn't worth it." But here's the secret: that voice is lying. The moment you feel that pain, that discomfort, that resistance, that's not the end. That's the beginning. Because that's where growth hides. You can't evolve in comfort. You can't build strength without struggle. The body, the mind, and the soul only grow when they are tested. Every rep that burns, every failure that stings, every loss that breaks you, it's not there to defeat you. It's there to introduce you to a version of yourself you haven't met yet. The one who doesn't quit, the one who doesn't complain, the one who doesn't need easy. Pain introduces you to that person. And once you meet them, you never go back. Most people quit the moment it hurts. They back off when things get uncomfortable. But that's why most people stay stuck. Pain separates the average from the exceptional. The weak run from it. The strong chase it. Because the strong understand something most people don't. Pain is the compass. It points you directly toward what needs to change. If something hurts physically, mentally, emotionally, it means you've hit a wall that's been holding you back. And If you push through that wall, what's waiting on the other side is power. Think about it. When you lift weights, what are you really doing? You're tearing muscle fibers. You're literally breaking yourself down so your body can rebuild stronger. Growth comes from damage. Strength comes from pain. And it's the same in life. Every heartbreak, every setback, every rejection, every failure, they all hurt. But they also all build something inside you if you let them. The pain you experience becomes the armor you wear. The lessons you learn become your weapons. And the scars you carry become proof that you survived what was meant to destroy you. Pain humbles you. It strips away the ego, the lies, the excuses. It forces you to face the parts of yourself you've been hiding from. It demands honesty. Because when you're in pain, you can't fake it. You can't pretend you're fine. You can't hide behind comfort. Pain brings everything to the surface. And in that rawness, you find truth, you find clarity, you find purpose. You start to see what really matters and what doesn't. There's a moment during every struggle when you feel like you've got nothing left. That's the most important moment of all. Because right there, in that silence, you have a choice. You can stop, you can retreat, or you can dig deeper. And if you choose to keep going, if you choose to embrace the pain instead of escaping it, something changes inside you. That's when you start building mental toughness. That's when you realize that pain doesn't break you. It reveals you. Pain is also the most teacher you'll ever have. It doesn't care about your excuses or your feelings. It doesn't lie to you to make you comfortable. It tells you exactly where your limits are, and then it dares you to cross them. Every time you push past that pain threshold, you expand your capacity. You stretch your belief in what's possible. You realize you are capable of more than you thought. And once you know that, you can't unknow it. You've proven to yourself that you're more than your fear, more than your comfort, more than your excuses. The funny thing is, once you start to embrace pain, you stop fearing it. You start to crave it because you recognize it as growth in disguise. You start looking for challenges instead of avoiding them. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start saying, good, this means I'm getting stronger. That's the mindset that builds warriors. That's the mindset that separates those who dream from those who do. Life isn't supposed to be painless. Every breakthrough comes with resistance. Every victory comes with sacrifice. Every success story has a chapter of suffering. You can't have the reward without the work, and you can't have the work without the pain. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent. It's tolerance. The ability to tolerate pain without breaking. The ability to keep moving forward even when everything in you wants to stop. Pain also builds gratitude. When you've been through struggle, when you've felt the weight of exhaustion, failure, or heartbreak, you learn to appreciate the small things. You don't take progress for granted. You don't take peace for granted. You don't take strength for granted. You respect the grind because you know what it cost you. Pain gives meaning to your success. Without it, victory would feel empty. And when you finally break through, when you hit that goal, when you cross that line, when you stand at the top of the mountain, you'll realize that the pain wasn't your enemy. It was your greatest ally. It was the reason you became who you are. Every time you thought you couldn't go on and did anyway, every time you failed and got back up, every time you endured what you thought would crush you, you were building something unshakable inside yourself. You were becoming resilient. You were becoming unstoppable. People who avoid pain never grow. They stay the same because they never face resistance. But those who embrace it, who lean into it, who see it as a gift instead of a curse, they evolve. They develop strength that can't be taught, confidence that can't be faked, and peace that can't be shaken, because once you've walked through fire and survived, nothing else can scare you. Pain teaches you to respect the process. It teaches you patience, humility, endurance. It teaches you that real change doesn't happen overnight, and that comfort is the enemy of progress. It reminds you that the reward is always on the other side of struggle, and that's the secret most people never learn. You don't get strong by avoiding pain. You get strong by embracing it. So the next time you feel pain, physical, emotional, mental, don't run from it. Don't drown it out with distractions. Sit with it, listen to it, ask it what it's trying to teach you, because pain always has a message. It might be telling you to let go of something. It might be showing you where you've been lazy. It might be revealing where you've been afraid to grow. Whatever it's saying, don't ignore it. Because the truth is, the strongest version of you is waiting on the other side of pain. Every tear, every struggle, every failure, it's all preparing you for the person you're meant to become. And once you understand that pain is not a punishment, but preparation, you'll stop avoiding it and start respecting it. You'll stop running from it and start using it. And when you reach that point, when you stop fearing pain and start mastering it, you'll realize something incredible. Pain doesn't weaken you. It forges you. It's the fire that turns you into steel. And once you've walked through that fire, you'll never be the same again. Consistency redefines you. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen by luck, and it doesn't happen by accident. It happens through repetition, through showing up again and again. Even when nothing seems to change, most people never understand how powerful consistency really is because they quit before they see its true effect. They think success is about intensity, about going all in once and expecting instant results. But consistency is about patience, about faith, about doing the small things daily until they build into something unstoppable. It's not the intensity of your effort that changes your life. It's the persistence of it. The truth is, nothing great is ever built in a single day. Every powerful body, every disciplined mind, every great achievement you've ever admired, they're all the result of hundreds, thousands of ordinary days stacked on top of each other. Consistency is what turns habits and identity. It's what turns effort into excellence. It's what transforms dreams from something you talk about into something you live. When you commit to showing up daily, you don't just build progress, you build proof. You start proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought, and that belief becomes your foundation. Most people fail not because they're weak, but because they're inconsistent. They start strong, fueled by excitement, and when that spark fades, they vanish. They chase new plans, new goals, new shortcuts, always restarting, never staying. But every time you quit, you reset your momentum back to zero. You never give consistency the chance to show its magic, because consistency isn't glamorous at first. It's repetitive, it's slow, it feels invisible. You'll spend weeks, even months, showing up and feeling like nothing's happening. But something is happening deep beneath the surface. You're changing in ways you can't yet see. It's like planting a seed. You water it every day, but for a long time, there's no visible growth. You start doubting if it's even working. But under the soil, roots are forming, growing strong enough to support what's coming. That's what consistency does. It builds your roots, it strengthens your foundation. Then one day, the results explode. Everyone else calls it overnight success. But you know, it wasn't overnight. It was years of silent, disciplined work. Consistency is also the purest form of self-respect. When you do what you said you'd do, day after day, you build integrity. You stop being someone who just talks about goals and start being someone who becomes their goals. You stop relying on motivation because your actions no longer depend on emotion, they depend on commitment. And that shift changes everything. You stop asking, what do I feel like doing today? And start asking, what needs to be done today? That's when progress becomes automatic. Consistency is the ultimate equalizer. You don't have to be the smartest, strongest, or most talented. You just have to keep showing up longer than everyone else, because talent fades when it's not maintained. Intelligence means nothing without discipline. But consistency compounds forever. If you're 1% better every day, you're not just improving linearly, you're improving exponentially. Small daily progress multiplies into massive transformation. And the people who can't stay consistent will never understand how you did it. What consistency really does is rewire your identity. When you do something every day, it stops being something you do. It becomes who you are. You're not trying to work out anymore. You are someone who trains. You're not trying to wake up early. You are someone who rises early. You're not trying to stay disciplined. You are disciplined. That's why consistency is powerful. It makes your habits automatic and your results inevitable. But consistency isn't easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It requires you to keep going when the excitement dies, when you're tired, when nobody's cheering, when the world doesn't care. It requires patience in a culture addicted to instant gratification. Everyone wants fast results, fast progress, fast recognition. But consistency demands that you delay gratification, that you trust the process even when you don't see results. And that's where most people break. They can't handle the silence between effort and outcome. They can't handle the invisible progress. But those who can, those who keep showing up in the quiet, they win. Every single time. Consistency teaches you the art of momentum. Once you build that rhythm, you realize how powerful it is. The first few days are hard. Your body resists, your mind resists. But as you keep showing up, something flips. It becomes harder not to do it. That's the moment you've reprogrammed yourself. You've turned your discipline into instinct. You're no longer fighting against your old self. You've become your new self. That's when consistency transforms from effort into energy. There's something deeply freeing about being consistent. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop wasting energy deciding whether to act or not. You just do. You move, you execute, you live by your commitments. And that's where your power grows. Because consistency eliminates doubt. It builds certainty through repetition. When you've done something 1,000 times, you don't question whether you can do it again. You know you can. That knowledge gives you confidence no one can take from you. Consistency also builds resilience. Because let's be real, life doesn't always cooperate. Some days will be brutal. You'll fail. You'll fall behind. You'll feel like you've lost progress. But consistency doesn't demand perfection. It demands persistence. It's not about never falling. It's about always getting back up. It's about never letting one bad day turn into two. That's how you win long term. The people who stay consistent understand that missing once isn't failure, quitting is. When you live with consistency, you begin to see how little control you need over external circumstances, because your strength doesn't depend on the environment anymore. It's internal, it's built, it's permanent. You don't need the perfect gym, the perfect weather, or the perfect schedule. You just need your will. You become unstoppable not because everything goes your way, but because you move forward no matter what gets in your way. Consistency redefines you by forcing you to rewrite your story. The version of you that quits gets replaced by the version that finishes. The version that hesitates gets replaced by the version that acts. The version that waits for the perfect moment gets replaced by the version that creates it. Over time, your entire identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who does. And that shift, that quiet internal transformation is the real power consistency gives you. There's a hidden beauty in consistency too. It teaches you humility. It teaches you patience. It forces you to respect the grind because you've lived it. You stop underestimating small steps because you've seen what they can build. You stop craving shortcuts because you've proven the long road works. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're too focused on your own lane. Consistency quiets the noise and amplifies your purpose. And one day, you'll look back and realize that everything you once wanted, the strength, the confidence, the results, they're all here. They were built one day at a time, one choice at a time, one rep at a time. You'll realize that it was never about luck or timing or motivation. It was about your decision to show up, to keep going, to stay the course. That's when you'll understand that consistency didn't just change your body or your circumstances. It changed your identity. That's the real transformation. You'll wake up one morning not feeling different, but being different. You'll look in the mirror and recognize someone who doesn't give up anymore, someone who doesn't need motivation to move, someone who acts because it's who they are. That's when you realize consistency didn't just make you better. It made you unrecognizable. The truth is, success doesn't belong to the talented or the lucky. It belongs to the consistent, to those who stay long enough for their effort to bloom, to those who build discipline when no one's watching, to those who keep showing up day after day when the results are invisible and the progress feels microscopic. Because one day it all explodes, and when it does, everyone else will call it destiny. But you'll know it was consistency all along. So keep showing up, even when it's boring, even when it's painful, even when it feels like nothing's changing, because something is changing you. And that version of you, the one you're building quietly, patiently, relentlessly, that version is worth every second of the wait. That's what consistency does. It redefines you until one day you look back and realize the person who started is gone, and in their place stands someone unbreakable, unstoppable, and limitless.